Doctor Who Time Flies, the seventh story of the Fifth Doctor, is written by Peter Grimwade and starring Peter Davidson, Sarah Sutton and Janet Fielding. So Concorde is used for the show is G-BOAC. At the time it was flagship of the BA fleet. They filmed prehistoric scenes in Studio 8 with Concorde's model as they ran out of budget at this point. So the serial begins at the Heathrow airport and one of the aeroplane disappeared from the scanner, so the TARDIS team drops Briggs, Berger, Scott and his crew back off into their time, and Cyberfleet dispersed. Tegan and Nessa ask the Doctor if he could quickly go back to Freighter and save Adric, but the Doctor refuses because the laws of time he couldn't break. So everyone accepts that Adric has died, along with his brother Vash. So the TARDIS team arrived in the airport and spotted by security. So they get into trouble by the police, so the Doctor suggested them to call UNIT and sent his regards to Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart. So after working things out, the Doctor, Tegan and Nessa went in the plane and met Captain Stapley, Bilton and Scobie. The TARDIS is in the plane. So while the plane flew, they ended up in Jurassic era. First Nessa sees the illusion of corpses, which is unsettling, and everyone deny the airport as it's just illusion. While they're being watched by Khalid, as Bilton and Scobie tries to get Angela and Culshaw to snap out of it, Plasmutation appeared and took Bilton and Scobie away, so then it's taken the Doctor. Well, apparently not. The Doctor is in the bubbles and the voice is calling for help. Then it released the Doctor as they plan to find crew, passengers and the TARDIS as it's been taken away as well. Professor Hayter came and he's already aware of the hallucination. Nessa seems to be struggling breathing, which is scary, and something is taking over her and saying stuff about do not approach Citadel and return to the ship. But then those flying bubbles got hold of Nessa. Tegan stayed with her while the Doctor, Captain Stapley and Professor Hayter went down to the chamber. While the Doctor was speaking to Khalid, Captain Stapley and Professor Hayter sees people hammering something. They tried to get them to snap out of it. They managed it with Bilton and Scobie. Ended up getting transported to where the Doctor and Khalid is and sealed in the barrier. After Nessa is released, she is aware that the Doctor is in danger. So her and Tegan went down to their chamber. And I do love the illusion scenes. I thought they're pretty cool and scary. First we have Adric, then Melka, and then Pteroleptal. So while Stapley, Hayter, Bilton and Scobie he sees the illusion of giant snake, Nessa threw an artifact into the centre, the snake disappeared. Khalid passed out looking like snot falling out of his nose. Gross. And everything seems to be alright. Although the Doctor doesn't understand after sees a lot of wires, Khalid reveals to be the Master in disguise.
You never do.
Brilliant. Again, Peter Davidson is great as the Fifth Doctor. Apparently he's disappointed with the story. He said it's a good story, but I think it's something to do with the budget. Which, fair enough, and it can't be helped. I love Sarah Sutton as Nessa. She's definitely amazing. Janet Fielding as Tegan Jovanka is great too. I think Anthony Ainley is fantastic as the Master, and the disguise as Khalid. In the end credits, they didn't credit Anthony's name in part 1 in order to avoid spoilers, so they've written Leonite, an anagram of his short name Tony Ainley, which is clever. Plasmutations are the creatures created by the thin air, which is cool. Zerafin or Zerafan are a bioplasmic organism from the planet Zeraphus, looking pretty cool. Richard Easton played Stapley, the captain and pilot of the Concorde. Nigel Stock played Professor Hayter, who's a passenger. Keith Drinkel played Roger Scobie, an engineer. Michael Cashman played Andrew Bilton, the first officer. Judith Byfield played Angela Clifford, a stewardess. The casts did a great job. They also brought Matthew Waterhouse back as Adric, only for illusion cameo because of his contract is extended to Time Flight, which is nicely done. Roger Lim does a great scores in there. So yeah, the Master has escaped from Castrovalva. He threatened to shrink Stapley, Bilton and Scobie to death if they stopped the Master from nicking the Doctor's TARDIS, so he did. So the Doctor and Professor Hayter went down where everyone is and they stopped hallucination. Angela was confused. The Doctor and Professor Hayter revealed to Nessa and Tegan that the Master is there. Meanwhile, the Master came back, so Captain Stapley and Bilton sneaked and figuring out how to close the TARDIS, so then they hid in the corridor while the Master is operating the TARDIS. After sorting devices out, the Master caught them, left it on automatic, leaving Stapley and Bilton flying away in the TARDIS. So after Professor Hayter sacrificed himself, enabled the Xerophon, so the Doctor, Ness and Tegan met Xerophon, so it eventually transferred to the Master's TARDIS, and the Doctor thinks he might be finally defeated. Uh-oh. So the projection of Professor Hayter came into the console room and helps Captain Stapley and Bilton to get back where the Doctor is. He is amazed that Captain Stapley managed to bring the TARDIS back, but he revealed it was Professor Hayter's hologram as he died. So eventually, as they get to the service, the Doctor makes a deal with the Master. Let the people go so he can promise his freedom, so they did, taking parts of the TARDIS and fixing the plane. The Master is starting to be trigger happy because he doesn't have patience. And I like the bit where Tegan is telling the passengers to get on the plane. She would make a great crew. As everyone is on the plane and the Master disappeared away in this TARDIS, everyone is back in their own time, but the Master is now stranded in Xerophus. As Captain Stapley explained where he's been to Sheard, he's unsurprisingly disbelieved him, so Tegan went down to the airport looking at International Departures Gate. Meanwhile, the Doctor is in trouble with the police again. He quickly ran away in the TARDIS with Nessa, disappeared away with Sheard talking to Stapley about discipline, but becomes speechless when he saw TARDIS dematerialised. Tegan was too late as the Doctor is gone, as they planned that ending scene in Time Flight to make it like a cliffhanger, so they didn't actually plan for Tegan's permanently farewell scene for the story, which is clever, as next time we'll see her is in Arc of Infinity Part 2. So there we are, great story, well written. It's great advertising for Season 19 Blu-ray box set with the video of Javanka Airlines, with Janet returned as Tegan. There's definitely great lines in that video.
I really, really need to get back to Heathrow.
Hey, that's my line.
Yeah. Great thing about those box sets, not only we get to watch all stories in each season, but the list of these things. So, what did you think of Time Flight and Season 19? Let me know in the comments down below. Thanks people as always for watching, and see you in the next video.